Hi guys, it's Michelle with DeceptionBytes, and we are carrying on with the Q post from where we left off the last time. Q has been posting for the last several hours on and off, and I have a feeling that he's going to continue posting through the night. So I wanted to get caught up on these February 7th ones so we can start fresh tomorrow. I am going to try and keep this as brief as possible. It's 12:20 a.m. here, Eastern Standard Time, and my brain is starting to shut down a little bit, so I wanted to get this done before I get to bed. So let's start this. This is the first one, picking up from where we left off, and it's an anonymous user on the 8chan board, and he has posted the following. He's taken a screenshot of a former post by Q that was made on January 27th, and he has just screenshotted it. And that post is at Snowden. The clock is ticking. How's Russia? Mr. Contractor. Freedom of the press. John Barry Barlow. And that's why he's bringing this to our attention right there, that name. And he is of freedom.press. Secure drop. Remember, we discussed that a few videos ago, actually, about this person and that like secure drop where people could basically drop information without anyone knowing who they were. So anyway, that's what he's bringing to our attention, and this is why, because this person died today. John Barry Barlow passed away in his sleep last night. Yeah, right. And he posts this, and this is from Deep Link's blog by Cindy Cohen, and it was written today, February 7th. And let me just read that to you. This anonymous user has screenshotted it, and he's also written it out below, but I'll read it to you right straight from here. Hope you guys on your phone can see this. All right. With a broken heart, I have to announce that EFF's founder, visionary, and our ongoing inspiration, John Perry Barlow, passed away quietly in his sleep this morning. We will miss Barlow and his wisdom for... I wonder if he had a pillow over his head too. I'm just wondering. We will miss Barlow and his wisdom for decades to come, and he will always be an integral part of EFF. It is no exaggeration to say that major parts of the internet we all know and love today exist and thrive because of Barlow's visionary... Sorry, just got to move this down a bit. Barlow's vision and leadership. He always saw the internet as a fundamental place of freedom where voices long silenced can find an audience and people can connect with others regardless of physical distance. Could solve all of humanity's problems without causing any more. As someone who spent the past 27 years working with him at EFF, I can say that nothing could be further from the truth. Barlow knew that new technology could create and empower evil as much as it could create and empower good. He made a conscious decision to focus on the latter. I knew it's also true that a good way to invent the future is to predict it. So I predicted utopia, hoping to give liberty a running start before the laws of Moore and Metcalfe delivered up what Ed Snowden now correctly calls turnkey totalitarianism. Barlow's lasting legacy is that he devoted his life to making the internet into a world that all may enter without privilege or prejudice according by race, economic power, military force, or station of birth, a world where anyone, anywhere, may express his or her beliefs, no matter how singular, without fear of being coerced into silence or conformity. In the days and weeks to come, we will be talking and writing more about what an extraordinary role Barlow played for the internet and the world, and as always, we will continue to work to fulfill his dream. Now this is the same thing just written out, so we're going to move down further because Q does respond to this. And here is the beginning of Q's response, and he's aiming it at this person above who wrote this. And he says, heart attacks can be deadly. Q. Now, I don't know how you take that, but this is the fourth time he's actually said this because I looked it up. That heart attacks can be deadly. So there's something to this. We of course know that they can cause heart attacks. that's been in the news and it's been known for quite a while now. So I would say that Q is responding to this and saying that this was not an accident. This was not somebody just dying in their sleep. I mean, he's not that old. Um, I'm not sure exactly how old he is, but not that old. And anyway, I just don't believe that he passed away quietly in his sleep. So, well, he was born in 1947 in 2018, and I'm really horrible at math, so what does that make him? About 70? Is that right? I'm really bad at math, and I can't think right now, so someone will have to do the math for me. Put it down below. Okay, now the next is another anonymous user on 8chan is writing the following. It begins here, and he puts a screenshot of a tweet by President Donald Trump, and it says, Trump's tweet says, "The budget agreement today is so important for our great military. It ends the dangerous sequester and gives Secretary Mattis what he needs to keep America great. Republicans and Democrats must support our troops and support this bill." Now, again, this was put there by the anonymous user on 8chan, and below he explains, he says, "This is pure speculation and probably just fitting things in places, but from the latest Trump tweet, just taking the first three letters of the capital letters, I come up with TBA, MIS, MAG, RDB, TBA, to be announced, MIS, Management Information Systems." And I'm not going to go into what this person's talking about because I don't know, first of all. And second of all, Q responds and says, yeah, you're off track, basically. So there's no sense in me wasting my time and your time trying to explain this. Management information systems are typically organized around the function areas of an organization. Learn about some of the most common applications of management information systems. MAG, Make America Great. RDB, Relation Database Management. RDB is a fast, portable relation database management system without arbitrary limits other than memory and processor speed that runs under and interacts with the Unix operating system. Is Q/President going to use an MIS to MAG with compens? I don't know what that's a misspelling of some word, from a RDB, aka coded leak, to from NSA Wiki, soon to blow everything wide open and show us a light. Yeah, that. Okay. And Q responds, no. I don't know why, but I just love that. I mean, you just go through all that and then Q says, no. He says, reread crumbs regarding Chuck Schumer White House submission. So this person's way, way, way off base. Okay, now what I did is I went to the original post and I searched for CS everywhere. And he appears a lot in Q's posts, by the way. Now, there is a post where Q is basically saying that Schumer has been brought into submission, okay? And he uses the phrase, thank you for visiting the White House. Well, he puts WH, thank you for visiting the White House. And that's the time when, and it probably was several videos back, and there was, let me see, there was a picture of Schumer, and he's, it said that, he's scared. So I'm just trying to jog your memory here because it was several videos ago. Anyway, that's what he's talking about right here. Reread the crumbs regarding Chuck Schumer being brought into submission. So, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi divided. Coincidence? The art of illusion. Q. And he capitalizes art. Not sure about that. I just actually noticed that. But anyway, he's saying that Chuck Schumer okay, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi are divided, but really they're not. They're not really divided, okay? Um, because Chuck Schumer's been brought into submission and he's doing what Trump wants. But Nancy Pelosi hasn't been brought under submission and isn't doing what Trump wants. And so the fact that they're divided is really an illusion. That's how I take this. Because Chuck Schumer is just trying to save his bacon. And Nancy Pelosi, I just heard that she did a speech for 8 hours. 8 hours. She stood on her feet in high heels and talked for 8 hours. Like there's something wrong with her, like seriously, seriously wrong. And I'm not being disrespectful here. I'm just saying there's something wrong with her. She beat the record. The last record was in 19 something, the early 1900s, and it was for 5.5 hours. She beat that. I 8 hours. Could you imagine having to sit there for 8 hours and listen to Nancy Pelosi? Like, please, I'd rather have my eyeballs dug out with spoons. Like, I can't imagine it. Anyway, so that's what I think that means. So I'm going to move on. I don't think there's anything deep and hidden there except possibly, not possibly, I would assume that there is a message in the ART. And I'm going to have to revisit that when my brain has been rested. Alrighty. We're going to go up to the next one now. Okay. Now, February 7th, and this is from Q, and he says, "You have so much more than you know. So much. Future proves past. News unlocks map. Equals plus, 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 plus." Now, we already know what these mean because they've been decoded. This is, the 3 pluses is the House Assad. The 2 pluses is Rothschilds. And then the 1 plus is Soros, I believe, which forms a triangle. And the House of Assad, he said, has already fallen. So basically we're left with Rothschild and Soros. That's how I interpret that, and I'm interpreting that straight from former Q posts where he himself has stated that. So anyway, then he says Red October, and of course so many people think that this has to do with a missing submarine. I personally do not believe that. I did, but I don't anymore. I think it has to do with this. And let's go out and just take a look at this. Come on. I finally installed an adware blocker. So I know you guys are happy. Certainly making me happy. Okay, so Red October is malware spies on governments worldwide. It might have taken 5 years to discover, but a government snooping spying campaign dubbed Red October has been exposed by Kaspersky Lab. Didn't need that. You didn't block that one, ad blocker. Okay, Kaspersky Lab has discovered yet another worldwide spying campaign that targets governmental bodies, political groups, and research institutions. On par with the memorable Flame malware, Kaspersky and a number of cyber emergency response teams discovered the malware known as ROCRA, or Red October, which mostly targets institutions based in Eastern Europe, former USSR members, and countries in Central Asia. Kaspersky says that Red October has been gathering data and intelligence from mobile devices, computer systems, and network equipment, and is currently still active. Data is gathered and sent to multiple command and control servers, which the security firm says rivals the complex nature of Flame. The malware is sent via a spear phishing email, which, according to the firm, targets carefully selected victims with an organization. Containing at least 3 different exploits in Microsoft Excel and Word, the infected files, once downloaded, drops a Trojan onto the machine, which then scans the local network to detect if any other devices are vulnerable to the same security flaw. By dropping modules that can complete a number of tasks, usually as .dll libraries, an infected machine obeys commands sent by the command center and then immediately discards the evidence. Separated into persistent and one-time tasks, the malware is able to spy and steal in a number of ways, including waiting for a Microsoft Office or PDF document and executing a malicious payload embedded in that document, creating one-way convert channels of communication, recording keystrokes, making screenshots, retrieve email messages and attachments, collect general software and hardware environment information, extracting browsing history from Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Opera, and saving passwords, extracting window account hashes, extract Outlook account information, performing network scans, dump configuration data from Cisco devices if available. So I don't think I need to read all of this, but that is what I believe Red October is. And nobody else can convince me otherwise, because I've been looking into this and trying to rack my brains, like, what is Red October? But this makes sense. It makes complete sense to me. So, Red October spies on diplomats, governments worldwide. So it makes sense to me that that is what Q is talking about. The hunt for Red October. I guess they want to shut it down. I don't know. I sure hope they want to shut it down. So that's what makes sense to me. So I think, oh, and then he goes on to Iron Eagle. Now, that again, many people have had different, and you know, myself, I've also done that. I thought that it had something to do with the movie Iron Eagle because, you know, it seemed certainly plausible. But I don't think that that's what that's talking about either. I think it's something altogether different, and I'm going to come to it in a different video because I started to research this and it's like a huge cavern, and I thought I don't have the time to invest in that tonight, so I don't even want to really touch on this, but hopefully I'm going to visit it in its own video, because I do have a theory, and it's only a theory, because, you know, we're all just trying to figure our way through this stuff. Nobody has all the answers. Nobody does. So if somebody is telling you that they do, they're lying. So anyway, let's go on from that. Then we have these two little square parentheses forming a box here. And then he says Q. Now he's going to explain to us what this is, so I'm not going to bother touching on that right now. In the next one, an anonymous user writes military target square, and he's referring to those little squares that I just showed you. And Q says kill box. Q. It's a kill box. Not sure, but it kind of goes along with the rest of the subjects he's starting to touch on here. So let's go on to the next one. So here we have another anonymous user asking or not really asking, just sort of making a statement to Q. Martha M. on Fox just said that Nancy must have felt betrayed by Chuck because he gave in on the government shutdown regarding DACA. Then he makes this statement, which he said before in that, and so he's giving us a hint for those that didn't pick it up about what he was talking about in the first one about Chuck Schumer. He said, "Thank you for visiting the White House." Q. So again, he's saying he's been brought into submission. So that's why Nancy, you know, maybe she did feel betrayed, but oh well. She's a big girl. She can put on her big girl panties. All right, now this is strange to me, and I don't know. I'm going to say this because I don't think any of us, meaning any people that have looked at this, I don't think they really know what this has to do with yet because we haven't been told. I think that Q is going to drop this later. He's going to keep dropping hints until we get it. But it has something to do with, well, I'm just going to go through in the order that they are because Q kind of explains what it is, sort of. Not really, though. So here we go. Here's this picture. Now I will make this bigger because I know that it's got to be a challenge for you guys on your phones. All right. The only thing I know for certain is that this building is in Shanghai. So Q is just showing us a building at this point. Nobody knows what it is. Nobody at this point even knew where it was. I only found out because I kept digging to see if anybody else had found out. Because I knew that it was not in America or Canada or North America, anywhere. It looked foreign to me. And I have the, I really blew it up, and looked at it. And he says, we see you live. So he's telling us, Q is telling us that this building in Shanghai, there's somebody in that building. Well, at this point, I don't think they are in the building. I think I don't know. But anyways, he's saying, we see you live. This is live via satellite, I don't know. I don't know where if they're doing surveillance there, if they're looking at a CCTV camera, or if they're, it's a satellite or a drone. I don't know. But he says, we see you live. So he makes sure to tell us this is live. This is happening right now. As he posted it, it was happening. Okay. Then we'll go up to the next picture. Now this is the same building, just a close-up shot. And I'm not sure who he's focusing on, but I think it may be the person in this car. I don't know. I'm really not sure. There's this guy walking, there's this car, I mean, there's all sorts of cars, but I don't know. I really don't know. I know it's none of these guys. It's cars that are moving, so I don't know. Anyway, he says, final guest arrived. Q. Now, what do you think he means by final guest? I think the guest is going to be finalized. I think it's the final day for that guest. That's what I think. I think that guest is not going to be coming out, not walking out. He's going in the building. He's not coming out. Well, he's coming out, but probably in a body bag. That's what I think. Final guest arrived. So let's go on. Up to the next one. And it's a similar picture, except this car has moved a little bit. This car's still there, so it's probably parked. This guy's walking. He's just around the same, he's walked a few more steps. But I think I think it's this car. So anyway, and Q says, what does Q say? He may not have commented on this one. He didn't. He just posted that. He posted the picture with no commentary. And then he posted another one. This time, and this one had no commentary with it either, this time the car is closer and it's under here where that's the entrance of the building. So it's definitely, and that guy that was walking came over to this car, it appears. I don't know. I think he's probably wanting us to focus on this car. It's the only thing that's really changing in these photos. So he didn't comment on that photo. So we're going to go up to the next one. And this one's a close-up of that very same car. But unfortunately, it's not of good enough quality to really see much. But that's the same car. And Q comments. "2 minutes. 2 minutes underscore G. Q." I can't even speculate on what that means. I don't know. 2 minutes. Maybe this picture was taken 2 minutes later. I don't know. If any of you guys have any ideas, or if you, I know some of you surf and do, that you listen to a lot of different people go through Q videos or go through Q posts. So if any of you have heard any explanations, please share. Because at this point, these are pretty new and I haven't really had the time to let them marinate a little. Okay, now he's showing a close-up of the building and he's wanting us to pay attention, and he tells us that in a post further up, to this substance around this window. We've got an open window here, and it's the only open window on that side of the building anyway. There seems to be another open window on the side of the building, but this is what he wants us to concentrate on, and there is a substance around this. So that's what this picture is about, and he says, "Good night, Q." Now, Q's not saying good night as in, okay, I'm leaving now, that my time here's over, I'm leaving. That's not what he's saying, because he posts a long time after that. So that's not what he's saying. I think he's saying, goodbye, whoever was in that room. Bye-bye. And it could be the person that was in that car, and the 2 minutes might have been the time that it took them to get from their car up to this room where they were killed. I don't know. So let's go up to the next one. And Q is telling us, well, first of all, this anonymous user says, they post this picture and they said, well, where is it? Okay, hang on. This is so big that it's taking me forever to travel. Okay. Okay, this anonymous user says, rotated image to match thumbnail orientation. Something protruding from white horizontal stripe 2 floors below the open window. Security camera, light, can't tell. Now Q's about to tell this person that that's not important. That's not what he wants them to look at. He says, he aims it at this person. He says, focus on substance around the outside of window upon entry. So upon entry, that substance, when whoever entered the room, that substance went out onto the window. Okay, so it escaped from the room and went onto the outside of the window. Now, Q later tells us that that window had been opened before so that it wouldn't blow out. So this person, to me, it's pretty evident that somebody entered that room and will never leave it, will never walk out of it again. Okay, it's good night for him. Well, it's not such a good night actually for him, but, and I'm not joking around. I really, this is a person's life, and I assume that there's very good reason for wanting this person gone, and who knows what they've been involved in, but it's still a person's life. So I want to be respectful because apparently this was happening in real time. Now, another anonymous user points out this tweet by Hannity. FBI informant on Uranium-1 breaks silence today. And there was an article about that, absolutely. So Q responds and says, "What a coincidence. Reread drop regarding Uranium-1 informant. Why did we refocus energy on this when it's out of the news cycle? Critical thinking. Q. Well, I think because the informant was formally blocked from telling Congress about Russia nuclear corruption case, but today he gave testimony to the staff members of the Senate Judiciary Committee, House of Oversight, and House Intelligence Committees. So there's a reason whatever was blocking him from testifying in the first place is no longer an issue because he was allowed to testify. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys have a better explanation, and I would love to hear it, because again, it takes us all. I have never claimed I have all the answers. Okay, now this is from Q, but let's go up and read who he is responding to first so that it makes sense. Okay, Seth Abramson tweeted this, and this anonymous user is bringing it to Q's attention. He says, "Please, RT, the nation is on alert for Trump firing acting Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, a prelude to blocking progress in the Mueller investigation and eventually firing Mueller. Those who believe in the rule of law must be clear in saying firing Rosenstein is a red line Trump cannot cross." Okay, now does that sound familiar? Because it should. It should sound really familiar because it's almost word for word what Q wrote. And this was back on the 30th. And when was this by Seth? That was on the 30th at 1:06 a.m. Okay, 1:06 a.m. And let's see when Q posted this. Originally on the same day at 4:36. Interesting anyway. I don't know. I don't know if that's 4 in the morning or 4 in the afternoon. I would assume, because I think it's military time that he goes on, so it's probably 4 in the morning. He says, narrative shift. Nation on alert. Firing RR equals block Mueller. Firing RR equals setup to firing Mueller. Firing RR equals red line. What was the Senate confirmation vote regarding Rod Rosenstein? Why did RR beg Ryan to block the FISA memo from congressional review, further advancement? Real time. Okay, see, we already went through all that in an earlier video. So basically this person is bringing it up because exactly what Q said is what was tweeted by Seth Abramson. And let's see what Q has to say about that. What a coincidence, he says. Do you believe? Have faith. The hunters become the hunted. So that was his response. What a coincidence. Do you believe? Have faith. The hunters become the hunted. Q. And indeed, that's what we're seeing. Now, let's go up to the next one. We're getting there. Okay. Now, going back to the pictures and all that, this anonymous user says, this has to mean China did this with us somehow. Q wouldn't live stream it without some kind of permission. Now, Q responds, sorry, a yawn just took over my face, but it is like 1 o'clock here, so anyway. Q says, people asked for arrests. Gave one example. Just because you can't see doesn't mean it's not ongoing. Trust the plan. Q. So Q is telling us that he showed us that to show us that this stuff is happening. We're just not seeing it. And just because we don't see it, and remember he said 80% of it would be taking place, well, he changed that number once. I'm not sure what he said, but I think it was 80% was going to take place in private. We'd never know about it. Okay, and this wasn't actually an arrest, it was a murder. So anyway, but he says just because you can't see doesn't mean it's not ongoing. Trust the plan. So that's why he showed us that. That was the whole thing in showing us that. But I also happen to believe that there's going to be something in the news that we're going to be able to tie to that. I really do. So we can look for it. If it's not there, then I'm not going to cry myself to sleep or anything. I'm just expecting it to show up in the news at some point. Okay, now the next one, an anonymous user says, Q, we love you. Trying to keep everyone positive. Someone in that building was arrested. The door was breached. Hence, the residue blew the window open. Now Q responds, window opened ahead of time to prevent pressure blast. Pressure blast. Think Intel. Last discussion on this subject. So Q's let them know that I'm not saying anything more about that. I don't want to continue the discussion on this. I'm not going to answer any more questions. So the window was opened ahead of time to prevent a pressure blast. Now, if any of you guys, military, police, whatever, know what would cause this or what would have been used and if this would have killed the person, because to me, it seems like Q is saying that this person died. But I could be misreading it. I've been wrong before. So anyway, I'd be really interested in what you guys think. Now, Q had formerly said that's the last, oh, my voice is just doing all sorts of weird things. Q had said that that was the last, of that conversation, and he changes it. He says, make sure the list of resignations remains updated. Important. When does Big Pharma make money? Curing or containing? And he's saying, think cancer, AIDS, etc. Mind will be blown by chain of command. Q. So, I think he's telling us here that we're switching. We're going to be talking about Big Pharma. Well, that's something that indeed does need to be talked about. And he says, when does Big Pharma make money? Is it by curing the disease or is it by containing it? Well, I think we all know it's by containing it. They have the cure for cancer. I'm convinced of that. They don't want to cure cancer because they make too much money containing it, treating it. And sure, there's some collateral damage there. Some people die. But, they really don't necessarily, I think, want people to die. They want to sell them the cure and make them pay for that cure because that's how they make money. So, and he says, mind will be blown by chain of command. Now, this list of resignations I have somewhere, so hopefully in the next video I will dig that out and just show you. I'm not going to go through every single name, but I'll show you how many resignations have happened. A lot. All right. So, continuing on this same topic, Q says here, what if cures already exist? Well, of course, we know they do. They do. What about the billions, public, private, government, provided to fund cure development? Sheep. These people are sick. Now, he's saying what he's saying is these cures do already exist, and I've been hearing that for years. At first, when I started hearing it, I remember thinking, okay, this person's a conspiracy theorist, but I really honestly do, and I'm really big into alternative medicine and naturopathic things, which tend to work way better than drugs anyway. So I do believe that there's cures for all this, and I think that some of the cures are cost pennies, and that's why they don't want us to know about it. Someday I'll do a video on that, because boy, do I ever have a lot of information on that. Anyway, so he's asking, what Q is asking here is, well, okay, if the cures already exist, what are they doing about the billions that come in from people trying to fund a cure? I mean, all the money that's taken in through taken in for cancer research. Where's all that money go? I don't know. I'm sure they have people in labs that are continuing to work at finding a cure, not knowing that there is a cure. I don't know. And he said these people are sick. I would say they are, yes. Now, the next one, Q says, how many top medical researchers found dead in the past 5 years? Oh, a lot. And I know that's been touched on numerous podcasts and people with YouTube channels, and I mean, Alex Jones has touched on it. A lot of people have. There's been so many. I think it was microbiologists that were all dying. I mean, it was just insane the number that died under mysterious deaths. So why is this topic relevant now? Well, it's interesting, and I bet you somehow it's going to tie into the two people that were found dead in Toronto, Ontario. They were head of I think it's Apotex, if I'm not mistaken, which is a huge drug company here in Canada. I don't know if it goes cross border or not, but anyway, they were found dead in their mansion. He and his wife. I know his wife's name was Honey. I'm not sure what his name was now. It escapes me, but it's been all over the newspapers here, and they have found that it was murder. They said originally they were found hanging over their pool, and they said it was suicide, and that just didn't make sense to me at all. But yeah, they've now have said that it was a murder, and they are tied to the Clinton Foundation. So something weird there. Anyway, they somehow, I just think that they're tied in with all this stuff. I don't know how, but I'm convinced of it. So why is this topic relevant now? Well, I think it's always been relevant. So why it's relevant this very second and why Q's bringing it up, I don't know, but certainly there's a reason. Why does the U.S. taxpayer subsidize meds for the rest of the world? Now, that is a very good question. I don't know. Although they're probably drugging the whole world. I mean, that would make sense. It's a way to control population. It's a way to control people. I don't know. But there's so much there to discuss that I almost don't even want to get into it, because this is enough to discuss forever. But let's move along. Now, this is the last one, and it seems like he has changed subjects again. He says emergency messaging system tests, I think he's talking about the emergency broadcasting messaging system, tests more frequent past month. Well, he's asking us, but really he's not asking us. He's telling us that they're more frequent the past month. Now, I don't know, because right now I'm in Canada. I'm hoping to be back in the States soon. I'm very, very homesick, but I've been staying here. So I have a mother that's elderly, and my only sibling passed away. So I've been here temporarily, but so I don't know if the if this has been more frequent, but I'd like to hear from you guys. If you think that it is and you've experienced it more frequently, then let us know in the comments below. Now, that is it for the Q post today. I think that he's probably going to continue through the night, as I said earlier, posting. I don't know, but we'll visit it tomorrow, and maybe I'll have some more information on some of this stuff by then as well. So I hope you guys have a wonderful night and a wonderful day tomorrow. Stay safe, and I will talk to you later.